by 216, I think I had 5 knee-ups on the one knee. My dad said, retire. You need to retire. You're not the player you were. I was like, fuck off, Dad. I want this testimonial. I want to be the first Aussie to get a testimonial for an English club. That was my goal. So I had tunnel vision and I didn't get it. But everything happens for a reason, mate. Like, I had no respect for my body. When I was honestly playing, when I stepped over that white line and put that jersey on, I didn't care about anything. Mate, my body, I didn't give a shit about it.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that's like yourself.
Yeah.
You're much like that.
We'd sort of put this mindset on, or we'd adopt this mindset. I mean, you say win at all costs, but I think we took the piss a bit. I think we went even further than that.
If the spectators seen what was under the jerseys and we just walked out in our jocks, they'd realise the strapping, the jabs, even midweek getting fluid taken out of my knee for the last bloody year. You know, it's like
been there.
What the last 2 years mentally was tough, and that's when I knew I wasn't that player. You know, but you had to tell me. I was too stubborn, man.
Welcome to the Mentality Podcast. We're recording at the incredible Wheatwood Hall Hotel podcast studio. This is a podcast that goes way beyond stigma. We talk about men's mental health and mindset. We encourage the type of conversation that will open you up to another way to live life, another way to see yourself and the world around you. If you are ready for that, you're in the right place. I'm Stevie Ward and I'm an ex-professional rugby league player and captain. And now I guess I'm a bit of a podcaster, a speaker, actor, writer, entrepreneur. I'm still working all that out. But at Mentality, we help men take control of their mindset by teaching them to find purpose, resilience, and what I believe is the new success, inner peace. That sounds good. If you are that guy who is waking up to the fact that they need to do something different in life and the same old habits aren't working for you, it might be time to step up. If you want to start your journey with us, you can go to mentality.co.uk/coaching to join the best team you have ever seen. Yes, we're live. We're live with the main man, Brett Delaney, Froggy, Vida Loca. How are you doing, brother?
Mate, I'm doing well. Obviously, you know, personally, the last 7 months has been quite tough for me and my partner. We're involved in a serious car accident. So, mate, I'm still recovering, but, you know, I'm here, I'm alive.
Yeah.
You know, it's a slow process with me, but Lottie's a lot better. So I can't go too far into it, obviously, for legal reasons. It's still ongoing, but yeah, I'm still having treatment for some injuries, and obviously, you know, I've got delayed concussion like yourself.
Because we've shared a lot of games together, mate. We've shared a lot of collisions.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of concussions.
Yeah.
But this were a big whack, wasn't it? This were a big whack.
Yeah, mate. Obviously, it's totally different. I went and seen a doctor of ours, John
Power.
Legend, you know, legend. So went and seen him just to check how my head was. You know, I was struggling for months and COVID and stuff, so it was a bit hard to get to see doctors and stuff like that. So he basically knew my brain from when I played and when he was a doctor. And you know, I done a motorcycle head test. I didn't do the protocol rugby league one.
Yeah.
And it was like so it was out. If you got above 70, it's a fail. I got 76. So basically told me it's like I've come off a motorbike and whacked my head.
Yeah.
So that's the impact I had.
It's mad, mate, because obviously I'm still struggling now, and it's over 12 months, 13, 14 maybe even 15 months soon.
Yeah.
We're used to, with rugby league players, they always say like a tackle's like a collision, 40 mile an hour, like, and you've had a flipping proper collision there, and we were talking, me and Frog talk about, we share symptom stories, we're talking about how we can get dizzy, how we can walk a bit off balance, headaches, migraines, nausea. So you've been dealing with that for a bit, haven't you?
Yeah, so it's been 4th of November it was, and it was just down here on the ring road. So
yeah,
but yeah, mate, the first 3 months were hard because of what Lottie was in. She had a halo cage on her head.
Yeah.
So that was hard emotionally, waking up every day, seeing her struggle and
tough.
And, I couldn't do anything because I was all over the place. I didn't know what day it was, or I was spewing up, or I was in bed dizzy. I was just really confused. It's like it's hard to explain. It's a total different concussion to a rugby league concussion. It's basically wiped out. Right now, it's wiped out the last 5 years of my life. I feel like that,
Memory.
Yeah, wiped it out. Like wiped my grand finals out, my challenge cups, them special moments that, you cherish forever that were, within our group, our bubble, would say. I can't remember that. And they're the things that hurt the most because they're the best times of my life, I shared it with you and, a lot of times, we won a lot of trophies together and, it's the best time of my life and at the minute, I can't remember it. Yeah, it's been hard like that. So I'm still struggling with my memory and I'm stuttering and stuff like that. And but I'm getting more comfortable now being around people because I was sort of the first 4 months I didn't really leave the house, so I was just cooped up in the house. And if we didn't have my in-laws, God, I don't know what would happen because they done a tremendous job both for Lottie and myself because I couldn't look after Lottie because I didn't know what day it was, where I was going, what I was saying, and obviously she had a halo brace on her head. So
yeah, mate, you've had a challenge, haven't you? You had obviously everyone's had COVID, and then I think there's the stuff that comes out of COVID, but you've obviously dealt with stuff alongside it, haven't you? Do you know what I mean?
And I got COVID as well.
And you got COVID as well. You were bad with that, weren't you?
Yeah. That was a bad one. I was starting to get good. It was only a couple of months ago, so it was still when I was living up in Cookridge. So obviously I've moved houses now. Sorry, but see, this is what I mean. This is what I'm forgetting. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
This is.
It's hard, mate. I'm flipping right there with you.
This is my head. You know
I'm
what I mean?
right there with you.
This is the symptoms.
Yeah.
So what were we on about?
I think I forgot now. Just on about COVID,
right. See, that's what I mean, right, COVID, yeah. So, I had a COVID test. I was having this, cough that was I don't know, Lottie was it was like a 100-day smoker's cough.
Yeah.
For a few days. Yeah. And I could sort of feel fluid, on my chest. I didn't tell her that, but anyway, I couldn't move. I was in bed for 3 days. I couldn't answer my phone. I was wiped out, and she got a test, and I got positive. So, I ended up having a shower. Got up after about 3 days in bed. Had a shower, and then I walked down the stairs holding on the banister, and then there was 2 ambulance ladies there. And then I was like, what's going on? So then we went in the lounge room and we'd take you to hospital. I'm like, what? And obviously my head's going what's going on here? But obviously Lottie, wanted me to get checked out, and then they had to stay there I think they were with us for a couple of hours, and they advised me to go there, but I was stubborn. Obviously, you know me. I just didn't want to go because I didn't want to be, my head was still, I didn't know where I was coming or going, thoughts. Yeah. And I didn't want to be alone, in a hospital, because you can't have visitors or anything. So I just had to sign something. I can't remember what it was, but that was it. Yeah, mate. So that was the COVID experience. So I've had a rough 7 months, I'd say.
Yeah. It's been tricky, mate. Flipping it.
Yeah.
I've noticed like the last couple of months and that seemed like you've been dealing with it a lot better and that, and it's probably you're managing it a lot more.
Yeah.
Which is some of that I think you probably. Well, I got used to it with my concussion. Like, I think with rugby league players, and I always think this. It's like we delude ourselves that we're not hurt or we're not like broken. Or
you just think I'll be right. I'll get over this.
Yeah.
Like, so, like with my concussion, I still can't see. I can't get the words out either. I can't transfer here to here. So what I'm trying to basically say is, see, here we go again. I'm lost.
It's all right. You're all right.
What were we on about?
So as a rugby player, a rugby player.
So I keep asking the specialist, why can't I get better? What's happening?
Yeah,
like in rugby, you know, I had 5 concussions, and I bounced back and could play the next week or 2 weeks later, or whatever the protocol was, right? Yeah. This one, it's banged me out for 7 months.
Yeah.
You know, like last weekend, I was spewing up. I was dizzy, and I was spewing up, lost my appetite. So I spent 2 days in bed, you know, Saturday, Sunday it was. Just wiped out, you know, and I spoke to the doctors and specialists and that. It's to do with COVID as well, but it's just frustrating, you know, like, so some days I'll wake up like today and I think I'll go out there and I could do a weight session, but I know I can't because I've tried.
Yeah.
I've not tried.
That's exactly what it's like for me. Yeah. You always, you get to the point where you go, do you know what? I'm all right now. I'll be all right. We're used to as a player, even when we're not right, going, yeah, we're going to be right. You know, like you defy what you actually are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have the feeling that you're going to go through with it. And something that I was chatting to you about the other day, you'd rather deal with the physical pain from it compared to the mental anguish of not putting it all in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you feel a bit guilty.
Yeah. So I think that's what I mean, and that's what hurt me with Lottie. I'll go back, but because I couldn't help her. I was hopeless, you know. Yeah. So I felt so guilty. By the way, the incident, the other guy's in trouble. It's not our fault. I'll just get that clear.
Yeah.
So he's been charged, but I can't go into it. But obviously, yeah. But I just couldn't help Lottie do anything because I'd try and help her, like, get dressed, and I'd start wobbling and fall over, and you know, and I just kept thinking, why can't this just go away? Yeah. Why can't this just...
It's like the one thing.
It was like week after week, and I'm just like... And then I'd start walking, and I'd like... It'd be like I was pissed, you know? Like, I was walking all over the place, and then I'd get home, I'd spew up. Like, I lost 15 kilos. Like, I didn't eat for about 14 days after the accident, because it banged up me neck and my shoulder and, you know, my hip and my back pretty bad. So I lost 15 kilo. I probably needed to. So I had a bit of a belly then.
Yeah.
So it was probably a blessing in disguise, really. But yeah, mate. But like I said, it was just like, I just felt helpless, and that was hard to watch Lottie. And she's so small. She's only 5'1", bless her. And she had this big thing, and it went all the way down, you know, to her waist. So the weight of carrying that for 3 months.
Well, you've got your own stuff.
Yeah, and then me trying to act, like you said, like a rugby league player. I'll be right. I'll get on with it. Like, but in the back of my head, I knew I can't.
Yeah. It just don't let you. It don't let you. You can have that feeling that you're going to get on with it, but then, like, it's when I train. Whenever I do something, whenever I try and, like, I went on a quick walk the other day, mate. Yeah. I've been walking better, and like, this is the progress I'm getting on to. Like, I do like the same walk ever since last year. Go down through Meanwood Park, do a bit around Park, come back home. And every time, like, I used to get back and I'd be all over the shop, dizzy, disorientated, my balance is off, and when I'm looking around, it's like woozy and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, the other day, about 3 weeks ago, I did it, and it was like only low level. Do you know what I mean?
Bad,
and I'm like thinking, fuck me, I'm getting better there.
Yeah, I'm right now.
Yeah,
well, then you think.
And then,
Then your mind goes.
so next day, I go, all right, well, I'm not running. I'm going to walk fast as fuck.
Yeah.
And I did like triple the amount of and it's like walking. It's like, this is where I'm at. This is the level I'm at. But, mate, I got back and had a migraine, like 6 out of 10 migraine for the rest of the day. And it was like a little bit warmer. And I'm just like, why the fuck is this happening? It's like, there's a part of you that just can do it and it's easy. But then something you can't control.
Exactly. It's like what happens afterwards.
Yeah.
You feel all right at the time. You think, this is good, this. Because you get your endorphins up or something. I don't know. Something happens, doesn't it, right?
Yeah.
It's like me, I've tried walking and I hate walking. I'd rather run me than walk.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I've got ADHD, don't I? So I'd rather just run than walk because I'd rather get there quicker, you know?
Yeah. You need to fill your mind up with something.
Yeah, exactly. And it's always ticking my mind. It's always ticking.
What's it like that with sort of ADHD then? Because obviously I've been aware of it and a lot of lads have been aware of it. So
so I've had it all my life, born with it. So I'd taken medication probably when I was about, year 7. You know, I started taking some medication year 7. I had to see a couple of doctors. It takes a while to get diagnosed. When I was a kid, it wasn't really like it is now, you know? Like, there's a lot more, like, bipolar and ADHD's come out a lot more now, I think. But when I was a kid, like, there was no other kid in the school that had it. I don't think, anyway. There probably was, but it wasn't a big thing, you know? So it took, like, 8 months to properly diagnose me because they got to ask your parents questions, your siblings, like my sister, me, and then they go back and, you know, they go through it all and then they diagnose you. That's how it goes. So it's not like you go up to a doctor and say, you've got this, you've got bipolar, mate. It took about 8 months to properly diagnose me. And then it takes a while to get on the right medication. So, like, the medication I'm on now is different to when I was playing. So, when I was playing, I was on 4 tablets a day, you know, and I had to take them at specific times. It's like a wave, you know. I need to be like that. Otherwise, I'm there. And I'm just, you know, I'm
We
like,
had some good days though.
oh, mate. Like, people know when I didn't take my meds, you're like, madness, you haven't taken your meds. And like, and I don't even know I'm doing it, but it just mellows you out a little bit.
Yeah.
It's obviously I've got an imbalance in my head.
Yeah.
And it just steadies the ship. That's how they explained it to me as a kid, you know.
Steady as a ship.
And because I was really disruptive at school, that's why this is how I come along, you know. And then as soon as I got on the right meds, you know, I was better at listening. I could sit there. Before I couldn't sit at a table.
Is it just like you actively want to do something?
Yeah, like I'd be like touching this, I'd be tapping my leg, just I couldn't sit still. I never watched cartoons as a kid. I wouldn't know a cartoon, me. I was always outside, booting like rugby ball or just anything outside.
Yeah.
Like on my push bike. I didn't watch TV until I like really come to England. Like even on the Goldie when I was on the
You've
Gold
got to
Coast.
watch TV in England, don't you?
Watch a lot of TV here. There's some good shows over here, but mate, I didn't watch cartoons as kids because I think that's because I was just out and about, just playing with mates, and that's probably where the ADHD comes in and that. But mate, it was hard at the start. Like, you know, teachers come in and I'd walk out and take them. You know what I mean? It was a bit weird, but I got used to it. And obviously when I come here, you know, it's...
Were you used to it, managing it then?
Yeah, mate. Like, it's like anything. You get used to something, don't you? It just comes normal to me. So now it's like, I know I got to wake up in the morning and I got to take a Concert XL, 36 milligram, boom, and that's it. When I was playing, I was on Ritalin, I was on something else, like a faster release. So now I'm like on a slow release. So I'd have to take a tablet every few hours. It's a slow release tablet, if that makes sense.
Did you ever not? I'm just thinking about like for rugby and that. Would it be useful to not have meds for rugby? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I didn't take them game day.
Yeah.
Because obviously they got banned substances in them. Like,
right.
So the difference is if I'd take them, like, I take them, right, it mellows me out. If you took them, you haven't got ADHD, you'd be off your head.
Yeah.
Like, flying like a Tasmanian devil.
Doing all the tackles that we did.
Yeah. Just running around like a maniac. And that's what you do, because the chemicals in it, that's what they do. But for me, because I've got imbalance, it chills me.
Yeah.
Sails me.
Yeah. Steadies that ship.
Yeah, because that ship fallen over and sank a few times.
You want a steady ship game day though.
Yeah, mate. You do.
We'll talk a bit about Leeds and stuff later on playing together. But what was a young Brett Delaney? So I only know you from flipping coming over 2011 to Leeds.
No, 2010.
2010.
Come over in end of 2019 in November.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Nearly 2011. I can remember you playing grand final 2011. And I was watching it, and Zach had gone and played in that grand final, killed it in playoffs.
Yeah.
Played in grand final and won it, and I was like watching it. I remember thinking, fuck, I want to do that next year.
Yeah.
And obviously I was lucky enough to do it and play with all you boys and share that experience. But what was a young Brett Delaney then, growing up?
Brett Delaney growing up was reckless. I didn't think about consequences or tomorrow. I just lived in the moment. I got a bunch of mates. They're my best mates. I come from a council estate called Ayla Park. You know, I got it tattooed on me. I'm proud of the area. I love it. But it's a shithole, in other words. But the land value is going up, so... Because there's... what are you looking at?
Just making sure it's working, mate.
That's probably not even on. No, now, like... Yeah, mate, just reckless. And, mate, I didn't think about what tomorrow would bring, and I'd be out in the street and just knocking about with mates and just... How young are we going back? Like, are we going like what? How young do you want me?
Well, you started coming into it
like what, the system or something?
Yeah, you joined Parramatta. How old were you when you joined Parramatta?
Well, I joined Para. So Harold Matthews was under 16s, 18s, 20s. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, but I made it up a year, so I was 14. So I made it up here, but I didn't really play that much that year. I played Heath Lestrange. Made it as well. Yeah. So all the two young lads that made it, Matthews up a year, but didn't really play like I was like that, you know, skinny rake.
You're like me when I flipping.
Yeah, like you when you come.
Shouldn't be allowed to play, man.
Mate, I'll never forget that time we went to Wembley and you done your A-levels, was it?
Yeah.
You on the bus getting the picture. you and your twin, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because obviously I didn't know like how intelligent you were, you know what I mean? You and your sister, your sister's a doctor, you know what I mean? I'm like, what?
She's a bit more intelligent than me, mate.
Yeah, but mate, you're intelligent, you know you are. But them days at Para, a couple of incidents where I was sent home from training. Yeah, I just was a kid from a council estate that had a little bit of a talent. How do I word this? I didn't really give a shit. I didn't take it serious. I'm not saying I didn't try. I'd run me ass off, you know, in fitness, and I'd do everything, but I took it for granted. I loved playing for Ayla Park more than Parramatta at that stage. So at 17, I had to make the transition. You can't play no more club footy, and I hated that. I wanted to still play for Ayla Park, you know, and we had some right boys, you know, but you know, I got sent home a few times. I remember Brian Smith. We were doing a drill, and my shoelace was undone, and it was pouring down rain. I'll never forget. It was my first year. I was 17 in the full-time squad. So you don't say boo to who, you know. Back in them days, you know. It was running from drill to drill, and I stopped to do my shoelace up. And he went, Delaney, what the are you doing? I'm like, I'm tying up my fucking shoelace. Why? And he went, fuck off home. I went, what? He went, you heard me. I know, can you swear?
Yeah.
Sorry. He went, yeah, fuck off home. I went, fuck you then, right? So got my car, got my car, I went, fuck. Because then I walked past Craig Catterick. He's a great bloke. He's at Penrith. Great conditioner. I tell you what, he's one of the best strappers conditioners. Yeah, I've had in my career, like Craig Carrick, mate, awesome, top bloke. But, mate, strapping, mate, unbelievable strapper.
What's that, a strapper conditioner, trainer?
No, strapping,
oh, actually
like, strapping your,
right.
your ankles and, your knee or shoulder. Like,
you've needed that a bit, haven't you?
Yeah. Like
better than Andy Barker?
I can't. He's me boy.
Yeah.
No, but we had a Jets program. So I got kicked out of school at 15. So they wouldn't let me back. So my dad made me work. So I had to go around labouring, doing digging holes. Worked with my dad's mate called Zoran. He had like a big tilt-up, does big shopping centres with big concrete pillars, and then you hold these poles. You drop them, drill them, and then bang a big sledgehammer. Doing that 12 hours a day, man. I just thought, what am I doing? I'm 15, 16 year old, you know. And then Brian Smith come up with a program called Jets Junior Education Traineeship. It was before you went full time. You had to work and train around it. So it got you into the real world of working.
Yeah.
And more training.
Like, to get you better.
Yeah, so we used to do 2 mornings a week with Rocket Reddy. He was great. Love Rocket. He's a great character. I can't remember the other coach that used to coach us, but I always remember Rocket because he's funny. And Ada Knowles used to run the weights. So we used to start at 7 every Tuesday, Thursday, do an hour on the weights, an hour on the field, then go to work at 10. But then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you had like training the arvo. So you work all day and then train at night.
So you had a taste of the full thing, didn't you?
Yeah, and my dad, as I said, Timmy Smith, he was in my Jets program. Wooah Rucky, he come a bit later, Wooah, but he was a greenskeeper. Like I went on so Timmy Smith picked up PE teacher. I don't know where he was getting that from. It wasn't like you can't get a qualification with that. So I'm thinking, and like you had a list, you know what I mean? My dad said, you need a trade or something, you know what I mean? I'm like, well, I don't know. And he said, well, just do the groundsman. Because you get a certificate, you know what I mean? I got passed on what the other lads used to do, the older lads that had been through. So when I come, but they wanted to clean shit when I come. So I got taught in the first year, like we used to like go upstairs to the corporate boxes and eat all the sandwiches and stuff and stuff like that, and like get on the gator. And when it was winter, when it was dewy, we used to hang on the side of it and ski, you know, stuff like that. And then they just sat after. Well, I think Weller come, and not long after that, they moved me up to Parramatta Morris at this school, and I had to. This is why I always tell the boys down, Ryan and the boys down at Adhd, if you ever need a hand, give me a call. Yeah. But no, I've done it for about 18 months. Then they sacked me because I was supposed to mark out a pitch. I didn't even do it with a string line. I just had the roller there. I just done it and it was like that, you know what I mean? So they rang me up. They go, "What are you doing?" And that's where we used to train, you know, flag and that. And they looked at these lines and gone, like they knew I'd done them. So they've gone, if I can get home again, you know.
Yeah.
And then I got sacked from the job. So then I went from there to real estate.
So this is why you're training for Para still?
This is still on a Jets program.
Yeah.
So you do it for 2 years.
All right.
So I only done a greenkeeper for a year and a half. And then I had a few months doing the passing out handfoots.
Yeah.
As a real estate. I'd never had like slacks or a long sleeve shirt. Kid from Mala Park, man. I run around bare feet, you know what I mean? Shorts and a shirt.
So So you've gone through this program then. You've done a bit of work. You've done a bit of like grafting. You've been sacked from the grafting. You've been an estate agent, and then you've sort of graduated to play for Para. Yeah. What happened from Para, and then what made you move on from there? So
how I debuted, Daniel Wagon was out. I always looked up to Wags because he was a worker. You know, now I look back at my career, that's my strength, was just a grafter.
Yeah.
Work hard, you know. You know, he used to mentor me a little bit and stuff. So I always looked up to him, and he was injured. It was round 26, and we're playing the Dragons, and it was first or second. I had to mark Matt Cooper. I'll never forget, I forgot my boots. Like, who forgets their boots on their NRL debut? Me. Right? So, lucky we were at the hotel the night before, and my dad could drop them off, because we had training. So, I had training, run around bare feet, you know what I mean? Captain's run with no shoes, barefooted. Brian Smith probably thinking, oh no, Jason Taylor took over, sorry, then.
Yeah.
Brian Smith got sacked, sorry, so JT probably thinking, what is he doing?
What, so you didn't have any boots on?
No, because, I left him at home. You know, I just, blasé.
But you ended up playing?
Yeah, so I played, but then, like...
Who lent you boots?
No, my dad brought me boots.
Oh, all right.
Because it was only like, we stayed at the Novotel at Parra.
All right, so not far.
It was in Parra, the home game, right? And Lala Park's about 20 minutes away, 25 minutes. It was just, I forgot him for like captain's run, really.
Right, yeah, okay.
But he doesn't pack boots, you know what I mean? They're in your locker at the stadium, me.
Hell.
But yeah, I had to mark Matt Cooper and I'll just shit myself, because obviously he is a New South Wales centre. Here I am, this skinny runt from Lala Park, just thinking, wow, like the pace. So I had a few reserve grade games back then, and so I always played in the back row, and then Brian moved me into the centres for a few games, and then I didn't know why, but there's obviously a reason. And then because we were down on centres, like Tamana Tahu was there's good centres there, and he went down, and I got a call up. I remember they stood me in a circle, and they said, like, right, tell us one thing about this young kid here. By then I changed my attitude. I was more professional. One of the lads just said, you know, he works hard every day, never complains. And that was it. And I think it was Paul Stringer that said that. He just said, yeah, just doesn't complain, just gets on with it. And I can't wait to see him. And I can't wait to play with him tomorrow. You know, I was an 18-year-old kid, and I was buzzing, you know, and playing the Dragons. We lost, unfortunately, but I scored a try on my debut, so that was all right. So I only played 2 games that year, and then following year, 2006, I played like 20 games because we were down on centres. But I played all my footy as a junior as a back rower. This is where everything thinks I'm a centre.
Yeah.
I was never a centre, but opportunities comes up. You're not going to say, I don't want to play first grade.
You do anything.
I'm not playing back row. I play on the wing. I would have played on the halfback if they said, you know what I mean? Just to play first grade as an 18-year-old kid, you'd do anything, wouldn't you? So then the next year I come off the bench, and I used to play back row, and then Gold Coast come into the competition. We're at rookie camp, and Scott Sattler said to me, so they have rookie camps over there. They just teach you about a lot of stuff like gambling and all that sort of stuff. Off the pitch, a lot of stuff off the pitch, which is really good, you know what I mean? I think do a bit more over about that with our younger lads, but that's not for me to do.
Maybe, mate. Maybe.
Yeah, but, mate, and he just said to me, you fancy the Gold Coast? I just said, yeah, I love it. Like, because I've been there on holiday, you know?
It's flipping and then, beautiful, isn't it?
Oh, mate. Best 3 years of my life, mate. I'm looking out that window thinking I'm there now.
Yeah, mate. I'm just thinking exactly back to when I went. I couldn't believe how nice it was. Yeah, honestly.
Mate, it's lovely. Like, so I had a deal at Parramatta for a 2-year extension, and they told me someone was going to retire. I won't say his name. And they said, right, he's going to retire, so then it's all sweet, blah, blah, blah. So I went up to my teammate and went, you retiring? He went, no, I just signed a 2-year deal. And I was fuming.
Wow, yeah.
I went, you know what? I'm out. That was me when I was young, you know? Like I really, how do I say this? I really live by loyalty and respect, right? I try to anyway, as much as I can. These days, loyalty's hard to come by, you know, in people, you know, in life. And respectful. I think you should always have respect for everyone. But unfortunately these days, you know, it's changed. But they were 2 things that my dad used to drum into me. Like, I got them tattooed there. He always used to say that about me. And when they done that, I just thought they let me down. So I went and signed So at a meeting, they flew me up to Goldie. They were showing me around, and I was like, it's like beaches, girls,
Yeah, mate.
It's and it was, they were out of the competition for 10 years, so all coming straight in. But they signed big names like Scott Prince, Luke Bailey, Anthony Frankie, Preston Campbell, Matt Rogers, mate. Had some superstars.
Yeah.
Then there's little old frog, the menace. You know what I mean? But we had a great. That first year was like we started well, really well. We had Billy Johnson as a Richie Mathers.
Oh yeah, Richie went over.
Richie Mathers away was with us, right? He signed. He was hilarious because we both had knee ops at that stage. So when you're injured, Billy Johnson was an old school conditioner. All you done was ride, swim, nothing else. Oh, and weights, obviously, every day. But it train on Sundays, so you don't go out Saturdays like that in pre-season.
Yeah.
And one day I went out, I'll never forget. I went to this bar called Alto's, and I had a drink, and then come in Sunday, and we're doing a session, and I needed to spew. And he went, spew on yourself. I just went, bleh. He went, hey, Mr. Alto's. He knew straight away. He knew everyone. I didn't know he knew everyone on the Gold Coast. Yeah. He knew everyone. So here I am thinking I'm getting away with.
You think he wanted to make you spew then?
Yeah. Oh, mate. I just was. He just said, spew on yourself. So I'm spewing. Then he's making me do me set.
Flipping.
It was just great. And then look back at that. Like Billy shaped me a lot. He toughened a lot of young kids up.
Yeah.
He bring that old school mentality. Trying to break you,
Yeah.
Some people got broken,
Yeah. You need that sort of test.
You do, especially as a new team. So we couldn't come in and just the laughing stock, or because we're on the Gold Coast, it's lovely to live, and you get one team, one town. They're building a new stadium. There's a lot of hype, So they had to buy some big names, and they did. They went out. I remember they flew Jonah Lomu over, and I thought they were going to sign him. Like it was crazy,
Take
man.
your spot.
Yeah, he would have been. Yeah, I'd have won the bench for him any day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so my 3 years at Gold Coast was great. Definitely had a good time off the pitch.
Yeah.
But you know what? I played some decent rugby. My first year, I got called up for Prime Minister's 13, which is like when you don't make the 8. They pick an Australian team.
Yeah.
So out of the losers, basically.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So I got picked on that. Went to Papua New Guinea, and obviously Paulie Aiton, I knew him from Penrith as a kid. He was there, and I was at Parramatta. Yeah. So we went to Papua New Guinea, and that really, opened my eyes up. I don't know if you've been there.
No,
mate.
I've never been.
It's they love their rugby league, man. Oh. I remember Sam Friday's passport was out of date. So he rocked up to the gate and they're like, it's out of date. And then, I don't know who it was, the manager ranks the Prime Minister, and he said, yeah, just let him on the plane. It was like, you know what I mean? It was like, yeah, Sam Friday, yeah, just let him on, you know what I mean? So, just like that. So, we played over there and just opened up my eyes to, like, obviously how privileged I was. And then, my second year, I played City Country. I had a decent year there. My second year was probably my best year, 2008. And then 2009, that's when I got offered a deal, a 4-year extension, going into the 2009 season. But I just thought I needed a change. I was sort of, how do I say this? I felt like if I would have stayed there, I reckon I would have been playing reserve grade. I had my mind elsewhere, but the best decision I made was to come here.
When I started Mentality 5 years ago, I was committed to creating a hub that would offer the knowledge and experiences to allow all of us to go beyond the stigma that cripples many men into a life lacking fulfillment. It would be a lie to say that I knew the impact Mentality would be having on people's lives, but we are. And it blows me away when someone gets in touch to share with us how we've helped them. So Today's podcast sponsor is Mentality Counselling, and I want to share with you a testimony from a guy who went from listening to this exact pod to making the important step to start counselling. Just wait until you hear what he has to say about his experience. If you are someone who this resonates with and you are ready to get the help that you deserve, head to our website right now and get in touch with John. I found it almost impossible to share my feelings and emotions with others. This was evident in our first few sessions. John was patient with me, providing support and guidance, but also gave me the necessary push when I needed it. Our sessions have changed my life. I now use my feelings and emotions to my advantage rather than letting them control my life. John has given me the tools to continue to improve outside of our session, and I am so much happier now. What was a turning point for you to just like, so you've gone through Para, you've gone through Gold Coast, you've had these experiences, you've been offered a good deal at Gold Coast. Like, what was the turning point? Why did you think you need to change or you need to get out of Gold Coast?
Winning.
Yeah.
Winning. So I played 5 years in NRL. I played one semi-final in 5 years.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I do know about you. You're a winner. I'm a winner. You want to win. So when the opportunity popped up, well, there was a couple opportunities. And I just remember Delaney ringing. My phone was ringing. I was in a nightclub called Platinum in Gold Coast. My phone's ringing.
Good night.
Yeah, always good night at Platinum. Just picked up my phone. He's like, "Hey mate, it's Delaney Medeiros." I'm like, "What?" So I ran upstairs because it's like downstairs, and he just spoke about Leeds and that. Mate, he just sold it to me. And then I spoke with Gary. First. Sorry, talked about a few things, and obviously the contract. I couldn't work it out with pounds, and it was a bit hard to work out. I'm no mathematic, you know.
Yeah.
So like, my manager had to sit down with me and sort of put these deals on the table, but he was telling me Leeds are the club. So when Bedsy rang me, my mum was made up then. I went right, and then Leeds would come off the back of 2 grand final wins, and then they won 3. They won 3 in a row. I thought, you know what, I want to be part of that group. I'll never forget this, right? It sticks in my mind to today. This is one thing I can remember. That old Colin used to cook us food up in the old spot we used to eat on the other side of the offices, up the top there.
Yeah.
Like, first bloke over to me was like Kev, JP, Rob Burrow, Den Maguire. I met Magsy actually through Mathers.
Yeah.
When he come over to visit him on the Goldie, but mate, like, I'm looking at these guys, they're like legends of the game. You know what I mean? They're coming up to me like, "Welcome to Leeds," I was blown away. And then I knew straight away. I read my dad that night. I went back, so after training, when I went, "Dad, you wouldn't believe it." And then I knew straight away, it clicked. This is me now. This is my club. I know it sounds stupid and people might not believe me, but that day and what Kev and those other leaders just done to welcome me with open arms and I just slotted into a system.
Did you need that shift in culture?
Yeah,
shift
I
in
did.
Like environment?
Yeah, I needed it, the culture that Leeds had, especially when Matt come. I don't need a pat on the back. I need a kick up the arse, me, as a player. But yeah, I needed it, and it changed my mentality, what I was doing outside rugby league or all sorts of stuff, man. I took it a lot more serious because I knew when I come to Leeds, I've got to buy into Leeds. If you don't buy in, you're an import, you're out the door, really. But my first year I played a centre again, and I wanted to play in the back row, and then I remember I was back home in Australia, and Mac rang me and said, "I'm going to play in the back row." But I was chuffed a bit, you know. So I come back early to start training with the kids, you know, like they started a bit earlier.
Yeah.
So I was buzzing, I flew back early, and then, you know what, My first year was a bit up and down, with Bluey, in the centres and that, and I was still unsure, And then I had a mate move over with me from Australia, Sly. He come over, little Sly. So he come over, which was good for me because I was on my own. I had a missus then, but I didn't bring her over. So I thought I'll come over here and settle first because she might not like it. She was a beach girl, so there's no beach here,
No, mate. Not any
It's
close.
round day lake for me to go to the beach, but I just knew straight away I had to buy into the culture, the way the boys led the training. It was just totally different. Not just being disrespectful to Gold Coast or Parramatta, but the way my first day just blew me away, man. And I thought, man, this is my home. And then 12 years later, I'm still sat here. Gary's kept me somehow.
Yeah, still in Leeds, mate. But you weren't far off from being the first Aussie to get a testimonial with one English club, were you?
Yeah, so, mate, I'll go back a little bit, because obviously, like yourself, I had a lot of injuries. By 2016, I think I had 5 knee-ups on the one knee. My dad said, retire. You need to retire. You're not the player you were. I was like, fuck off, Dad. I want this testimonial. I want to be the first Aussie to get a testimonial for an English club. That was my goal. So I had tunnel vision, and I didn't care about anything else. All my focus was on, I want to get this testimonial. I want to be the first Aussie to get it. Yeah, I won grand finals, challenge cups, World Club challenges, love everything, right? But I wanted to be the first Aussie to get this, and I didn't get it. But everything happens for a reason, mate.
How did you develop into the player that you were? Because obviously I grown up watching all of the people I play with, like you say, those leaders, and playing my own game. And then I remember walking into a unit or a team where everyone's mindset were just literally focused on all the hard work that you had to do. Yeah. Whenever it's training, whenever it's extra training, you'd be the odd one out if you weren't doing anything.
Yeah.
And then it's almost Brian Mark, he's an ex-boxer, he's an ex-Marine, and he was our head coach, wasn't he?
Yeah.
When I look at you and I talk to you and I played with you, and there were a few others, we'd sort of put this mindset on, or we'd adopt this mindset. You say win at all costs, but I think we took the piss a bit. I think we went even further than that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
the way that we put our body on line, the way that we'd play for it, chase tackles.
Yeah, I had no respect for my body.
Yeah.
Which sounds completely ridiculous. But when I was honestly playing, when I stepped over that white line and put that jersey on, I knew my last few years, my legs were gone. I should have retired a couple of years earlier. Like I said, my dad told me, son, hang them up.
Yeah.
But I wanted that testimony. But anyway, once across that line, I didn't care about anything. Mate, my body, I didn't give a shit about it.
Yeah.
And that's like yourself.
Yeah.
You're much like that. But my strength as a player was just working hard, doing all the grubby stuff, marker tackles, just working hard, pushing, talking, controlling the middle, controlling our edge.
But once you see that, and once you do it, and then you see the result that the team get, and you see how much you win a game, and those things you do win games on.
Yeah.
You just for me after, I couldn't go into a game and take it easier. I couldn't ever go into a game and be
just dip your toe in.
Yeah.
No.
And I had to, like you say, cross that white line and go, all right, it's time not to care about my body, it's time not to care about... And this is when we talked about earlier, the concussion stuff. I fall into that now.
Yeah,
and it might be just trying to do weights. I'm in it and I'm like, well, I'm on now, I'm doing it.
I think that has a lot to do with, obviously, how you played rugby, because we didn't care about our bodies or whatever. I think that still drags on now with our heads.
Yeah.
Like you said, you get a bit excited and go faster.
Yeah.
But then you're on your ass again.
Just overdo it.
But you just think, but talking about the club, it's changed my life. I don't know where that Brett Delaney would have been if I didn't sign at Leeds Rhinos. I'm just being honest. I don't know. I don't know where I would have been, honestly. If I didn't sign at Leeds, I don't know which direction Brett Delaney would have taken.
You needed somewhere to put your energy into, in a good way.
And that's what, when I come into Leeds, it was a structure. There was that many leaders there, like I just mentioned earlier. And you just slide in. You just slot in, right? If you don't slot in, you're out. So you got to slot in. You got to buy in.
Yeah.
So I needed that. I needed that structure. I needed a buy-in. We had so many leaders, man, that I just could look around and think, he's got my back. You know, he's got me. I used to go in the game so confident. I know it sounds big-headed, but I don't care. And like I say about my body, I don't care. When I cross that line, I'm going to try and whack you as hard as I can, or run over you, and do. I don't care if I break my bone or my knees go or my shoulder or my head.
I think just it's hard to get it across, but I think we'd always, when we're playing, we're always trying to get that extra inch or move up an extra inch. And when people are attacking, or they're attacking you, that was one of our things, was to like be up in the face more than they used to, or like take the space away. And like say marker tackles, like we're pressing on them, and like you've got people flying at you 100 mile an hour. If you're an attacker and you've got someone flying at you from side 100 mile an hour, and you've got someone coming right in front of you, it puts them off.
Exactly.
It takes the meters away.
And everything. Like imagine being a 7 or a 6, and when Matt come up with that system, remember we come in and we're doing all that mapping, thinking, whoa, what are we doing this for?
We're running 1,000 meters.
We're running like to 10, over the 20, 50, like, we're going everywhere, you know what I mean? I'm thinking, where are we going? Like, obviously it was pre-season, so I'm thinking, yeah, come on. Obviously Max got an idea, but we didn't know what it was, but that was it.
But that was every game.
Yeah, that was every game, and that's how we defended, right? And that's when you could see people that, I won't mention names, but some people come in, couldn't do that. So they unfortunately left. But it was hard, when you played in the forwards, especially that time, you had to work hard, right? Jesus, them line speeds, right? Press.
I think that's why we had some games where we were just literally fucked. We might have 2 big games up bounce, and we do that game plan, and then the third one we'd be doing the same game plan. We'd be doing it, but it wouldn't be with as much strength. Do you know, and substance behind it, and we'd get beat, or sometimes we'd get turned over. I think for anyone that were coming into the team, they had to go, what the fucking hell is going on here in defence?
Yeah.
And then you had to slot in, like you say, you had to slot in.
Yeah, and even training, I remember like Jonesy, he's my dad's favourite player, he's Jamie Jones. And mate, he's an unbelievable person. I can't say enough words of what Jonesy does for the club, the community, the church, mate. He's the most busiest person I've ever met in my life. But he'll take time to talk to anyone. He's my dad's favourite player. And the work ethic, and the story I heard about Jonesy when he was younger, and he had come through all them injuries, and then to play 20 years, man. I know, mate. You can't beat that. And then, but that's the mentality you got to have. I know. At Leeds, you got to have that. You got to have that in you. If you ain't got that in you.
And you stop doing it. Like, well, what do I sacrifice now? Sometimes you say, oh, fuck it. You're so used to on a Friday or whatever, and you'd give everything, and I could respect that you're flipping giving everything. Do you know what I mean? And even if you had to miss a few weeks or whatever, it's like, well, you're tipping in for the team.
Exactly. Like that's what I mean. If you, for instance, if we had a few injuries, but you think I'll get through this game, but I might miss a month. Yeah. You go there, or you'd have a fitness test the day of the game. Right, I'm there. Put a needle in me, or it's not. Shouldn't be probably talk like that, but that's the truth. And if people like I seen a tweet, I think it come from Lunty the other day, like a couple of weeks ago. I remember he said I think it was Lunty, or someone anyway, put a tweet out, said if the spectators seen what was under the jerseys and we just walked out in our jocks, they'd realise the strapping, the jabs, even midweek getting fluid taken out of my knee for the last bloody year, you know. It's like
been there,
mentally, the last 2 years mentally was tough, and that's when I knew I wasn't that player, you know. But you had to tell me. I was too stubborn, man. You know,
because that's what we're saying. Like, you're used to just doing it, sacrificing, doing it again, being injured, coming back. Like, I don't know how many comebacks I made. Flipping heck. I think people got sick of it in the end, but because you're just so 100%, you're more like the short bursts rather than the steady, slow, long marathon sort of type player. But
then you didn't think of next week. It was about this weekend with all that. You know, like you're saying, putting your body on the line, knowing that I might not get through this game, but I'll have a crack anyway.
Something James Graham said, and it's sort of come into my head a bit, and I sort of resonated with it. But he was saying, like, he would be like, rugby league was a be all and end all for him, and he'd say, like, he'd be ready to die playing. And I'm like, fucking hell, like, you talk about that white line, you're going across that white line. I'm like, I think I were. I were ready to take on whatever came. As soon as I'd cross the white line and come out of the change rooms, you've got to. You've got the nerves, you've got the anxiety, you've got the people that you're going to be bashing in 2, 3, 4 minutes. Yeah,
and you got your teammates beside you, knowing that they're going to do the same.
Exactly,
you know? And that's why I think we done that, because you know the bloke next to you would do the same thing. They'd sacrifice. Everyone on that team was selfless. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
You know, the team comes first. But mate, I remember when I compound fractured my thumb. So like, my thumb was over here and the bone was out there, and Andy Barker on the field. I'm like, snap it back into place, get it. But my bone was hanging out. You know? And I'm just saying to him, get it in there. And obviously, you can't just snap them. Mate, my thumb was over there, and there was like a chicken bone that was hanging out here. And I'm like, oh. And then I remember I tried to play the next week. So I went to the hospital. So they had to rush me to hospital because you got to put it in quickly. Otherwise, I don't know what happens.
You
chop it off maybe. So it took them 2 hours to get it in, back into place. And then all they'd done was put a little, like the scars there, you can see it. All they'd done was put this little like bandage on it. So I'm like, I got this compound fracture. I said, and I remember I rang Mac. I said, I reckon I can play next week. Right? This is how, you know, my thought process was, you know. So we made a guard up at that stage because I'd just done it. It was still so swollen, and what we tried that week, but I only missed a week and played with that guard on. That was 2012, mate. We won that grand final. You'll see me, I had to wear a plastic thumb guard for the rest of the season because it was so loose.
You don't feel it though, when you go play, you don't even flipping think
I didn't
about
care,
it.
man. As soon as I get goosebumps talking about stuff like this. Like, this is great for me because I've had a rough 7 months. I've barely seen anyone. Catching up with you, a teammate that I've spilt blood with, you know. What we'll say, and it's been great. It's helped me a lot. Come on, because I would never done this. So I'm quite a personal. I don't know. I keep to myself a lot. Like, I'm not really out there. I didn't do a lot of interviews. I always just refused. I don't like that. That wasn't me. Not being arrogant, but I just wanted to get on. I just want to play rugby, man. I want to get on, do my job, get off, recover, go again the next week. Just like, looked at it like as a job, right? But it wasn't a job for me because I loved it that much. And then the back end of my career, it was more mentally harder than physically, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about, right, when you start thinking about, am I going to get through this training session? You know, you can't have them doubts when you play rugby league. I remember I had it one training session, sorry. I just went home. I said to Lonnie, just leave me alone. I went for a drive. So I drove to Liverpool and back. I just went to this beach, I don't know, in Liverpool somewhere. And I just was there, just sat there thinking, what are you doing? Like, you can't be thinking like that. This is like a couple of days out from a game. I'm thinking, oh, where's the old frog? You know what I mean?
What are you sort of thinking about where you are at that point?
Yeah, like what are my teammates thinking? Because all I care about, no disrespect to the fans, was respect from my teammates and my coach, right? If I've got that, I'm doing my job. And the Speckies, and I had a song and I loved it.
Yeah.
And like Leeds embraced me, and I can't thank them enough. And my song, I love it. That like used to, I remember the first time I got sung, I didn't understand it because it was like, I remember someone, I forget who told me the words.
Sing us it for us.
I'm not going to sing. Please.
Delaney.
No, but like honestly, mate, from a kid from Mailer Park, and for this
Basically,
club,
it was Delaney. He's from Australia. He's gonna fucking murder you. Yeah.
But to be embraced like that is meant the world to me. Then I thought, I owe them 100%. They don't know I'm getting jabbed up or my knees are strapped up or whatever. They don't know that, right? But I still got to play to that level. I have no disregard for my body, basically. But towards the end, it just got too much. And then obviously my eye. I was probably a blessing in disguise, because I wasn't playing good footy, rugby, sorry. And it's quite hard, like, it was supposed to be a straight, so basically fractured my eye socket, broke my nose and my cheekbone. So there's all like plate and screws in here. So they told me I had to wait for swelling to go down. But I knew, it's weird. It was when Kev's first
year taking over.
First game taken over at Cass. I knew that was me done. Yeah. I walked off, right? My eye was burning. Felt like my eye was popping out. It was weird. And I remember I looked at James here. He's like, looked at me like your eye. And I I remember I pulled the rag down. I thought, that's me done. So I sort of knew then my career was over because I thought, this ain't right, this eye. It was just, I don't know. You just have I just had this feeling. So I just walked off and I was content then. And then the surgery come and they're telling me it'll be 7 weeks and then, you'll be right. You might have a bit of blurred vision. That turned into 6 months. And now it's life. So I've seen loads of specialists. Leeds done their best to try and get me back and all that. But unfortunately, the nerve in my eye is dead. That's the one that pulls it down. So when I look down, it's all blurry. Like when I glance down like that, like my hands are all, I've got 3 watches, you know what I mean? So you can't play rugby like that, man. I can't see anyone here, come blindside me.
Yeah,
So, but that was it. And what I struggled with was it got taken away from me. I didn't get to finish on my terms. And that hurt me, broke my heart. I'm over it now. But, mate, the 6 months after, I can't even tell you what I was doing. I can't remember the conversation. Like Gary came over obviously and was obviously worried and because I had to retire. I went in the room and he basically said to me, you need to retire, you're going to lose your eye. He said it that bluntly.
It was just the doc?
Yeah, the specialist. So I was seeing other different specialists and whatnot, and he just sat across from me and said, I'm just going to say how it is because I know you've been, because they must know each other. He must have spoke to whatever. Specialist, no specialist, yeah? So he basically said, look, I'm just going to put it straight to you. You need to retire or you'll lose your eye. I just sat back and went. But the 24-year-old, 25-year-old Brett Delaney would have went, fuck it.
Yeah.
I'll lose my eye. But I was 33 then. My knees were knackered, both knees. When I done them both MCLs, when I had them Forrest Gump, there were 2 knee braces on. They were 98% torn, both of them. So they were just hanging on. If they snapped, that was my career done then. So that was a year earlier. So like, I remember coming back and I was strapping both knees, like, always had my shoulder done because my AC joint. Yeah. I'd bloody always cut me, have a, like you, bandage around my head, like put my head in the wrong place, dink. A split eyebrow or something, like from an elbow, or, you catch someone else. Kylie used to give me a couple over the top with his head. He'd just whack you, and then next thing you're around like that.
Kylie.
But mate, that now I forget what I was on about again. So.
Yeah. Well, what were it like then? So retirement, how was that been for you?
Like I said, the first 6 months, mate, it broke me heart. It just ripped me heart apart because it was. I love the club. I love the club so much. The people, everyone involved around the club, but they made me feel so welcome. They're like my second family, And to get something taken from you when you want to end on your terms, it's a lot harder to take, like yourself.
Happens in a flash, doesn't it?
Yeah, mate. But it just happened like, he was so blunt with it. And I can't remember driving home. I think Lottie was actually with me when he said it. Because I can't remember Gary being at my house. But he come for a cup of tea and then checked on me and stuff like that. But I can't remember that because I was obviously caught up in this land where I've just had my heart ripped out of me, But the best thing about that was the club, Leeds Rhinos club, is something special, mate. I can't thank them enough for what they've done for me, especially when my dad got sick as well. Mac was really good with me, I had a lot of stuff going on back home. But he's all right now, my dad, so I'm more settled, but there was half a year there where there was a lot of stuff going on back home, but Mac was always good with me, and that's what brought the best out of me for Mac, was he understood me. But yeah, man, I can't thank the club enough. The transition, obviously, I wanted to give back to the club in some way. I thought I owed them. I give them 9 years of service. But I think I owe them more. I think I can give them more as a player, former player. I can't speak high enough of the club, and you probably laugh at this, but I could never think I'd be a coach. So I had 6 months off, sort of didn't watch rugby, worked at foundation, in the prisons, loved doing that stuff, right? Helping youth out, trying to turn kids away from where I was sort of the direction I was going. Love doing that stuff. I get a kick out of that, man. And it keeps me out in the game, keeps me grounded. And I just said to Kev, man, is there any chance I could come volunteer or, And he said, I'll get back to you now, basically. And then it happened. And Matt Butler, Butts,
yeah.
Mate, can't thank him enough. He's taken me under his wing, and he's taught me a lot. I view the game so different now. As I'm no super coach, but I view the game different now. I view the game so different because I'm coaching now as when I played.
Yeah.
It's weird, and I like when I played. I hated watching rugby. I'd always watch who I'm up against. Who's my back rower? You
just need to switch off though, don't you?
Yeah. So I had friends outside rugby, so I used to knock about with, so I could get away from it easy. But I always did my own work on who was I against, what shapes do they throw. I done all that, but then once I left, trading. I'm out. And that was how my circuit worked. Because if I got overloaded, I'd go the other way, you know. It happened to me at Gold Coast. Kind of clamped down on me a lot.
Yeah.
And it made me worse.
Yeah.
Made me rebel. So they backed off again. And yeah, but mate, I love my job at the foundation. You know, working with some schools, doing some resilience programs. RFL supporting it, so it's great. And then I'm doing my coaching, man. I've been, like, it's funny, I can remember Jack Sinfield as a kid, you know, running around at Longbar, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm coaching him, you know, not my assistant coach, obviously, not he's coach, but I'm part of the coaching group. It's crazy. You think it's a few years, but life is like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I think you got to cherish. I try and, when I speak to young lads, like I mentor a couple of boys, Morgan Gannon and Levi Edwards. And Ganno's been awesome. He's played the last 2 games, but I do a little bit with them. Just try and help them out positionally and stuff like that. Because they come through the scholarship system and, you know, I latched onto them. And
You're helping younger lads, aren't you?
Yeah. So, and I get a kick out of it. And that gets me as close as I can to that feeling of putting that jersey on, is helping a kid develop and see him play first grade. So when Morgan Gannon played 2 weeks ago, I was like, proud dad. I was buzzing for him, you know what I mean? I just thought, he's 17-year-old and he's a great kid. You can't speak higher. It reminds me all about you. The way you were so mature when you come into the team, like you were a kid, man.
Yeah, I know.
But you had an old head on your shoulders. Gano's got that as well, you know. He's a very bright kid, like yourself. So he's still at school. Levi, he's a good kid.
It's the best thing to do, mate, to do as much school as you can. I mean, I've seen it. I'm flipping, you know, I'm 27, just turned 27, and the career that I had has gone. Do you know what I mean? And it's a lot earlier, but you know, this is in practice mentality is probably a culmination of everything when I was growing up, you know, 17, 18, doing stuff at school, being able to do that journalism stuff like this. And it's a big message. It's a big message for youngsters, because I think you're so focused, mate. You got blinkers on when you're a young lad and you're like, I'm going to play. I'm going to do anything possible to allow me to play. I'm going to actually I'm going to go through anything to get on the pitch, to play on the pitch, and I'll go for anything on the pitch. But I think you need something else, don't you?
Yeah,
because
definitely.
we know that it goes like that.
I'll ask you the question. You've had the same thing like me, taken away, but at a lot younger age.
Yeah.
You know, I was 33. You're 27.
Yeah.
So how have you?
Fuck, we're old now, aren't we? We're getting old.
You know what? So I tell that story.
I remember when I was 18 and you were flipping, 24?
Yeah. Well, that's you and Singo and I remember he come in, he had that bar and he had this thing on his elbow. Singo. I'll never forget it. And I'll never forget Cam Smith when he was like, he broke his leg and he was... But I'll never forget that story when we go to Wembley and you and your twin had the pictures. Yeah. When you'd finish your A-levels and we're off to Wembley to play a cup final.
I know, mate.
And you were like a kid, you know what I mean? But then it's like, here we are sitting here today.
I know.
We're both retired.
There's a lot that's gone on since then.
I know. Mate, like I said, I can't remember those special moments that only we know. That bubble we speak about now. And that's what kills me now.
Good moments, man.
Yeah, I got upset, you know, the other week. I was talking to Sarah Taylor, my fave. I call her my fave because I always go in there and say hello to her. And I just say hello to her. I just walk around and say hello to everyone. Just floating about. But yeah, it just got me upset because I told her about that. And I held that in. You know,
because you're forgetting it. You're forgetting those moments.
Yeah, so I held it in because I was at home. I wasn't telling anyone. I couldn't remember anything. She's the first person I told. To tell Lottie. Because I'm still worried about Lottie's recovery, getting a head brace. If it didn't heal, she had surgery. She might not be allowed to drive again. She's only 30 odd. That's life changing.
Yeah, man.
So like, Sarah was the first person I spoke to about my memory loss. To that extent, Lottie knew I'd forget things, but like them special memories hurt me the most because I can't remember that moment or that speech or when someone stood up and said something.
Yeah.
You know, we had them moments
I
like.
think I'm with you, mate. I think I'm with you.
Yeah.
But these help, mate. These chats help.
Yeah, they
don't
do,
they?
mate. Like you're doing a great thing. You have been for years, mate. Like mentality. I would never have done this 2 years ago. But like now I sit back and since that accident, mate, it's changed a lot of my life. It's changed my outlook on life. If that makes more sense, right?
Yeah.
Big time, man. I think about things a lot more now, and I think, right, I just cherish. I'm here. I got a job. I've got a missus that supports me, has supported me through everything, and I'll be endeavour to the day I die. You know, mate. She's rode that ship, mate. When that ship's been, woo.
Yeah, she's steadied that ship, hasn't she?
Yeah, she has. Yeah. She's been brilliant, but she's been there when I've been there, everywhere, man. And she hasn't gone anywhere. And the first time for me was to give back to her, you know. It was with her injury, and it was a start. But we both talk about it like it'd be a life, you know. And I just cherish everything now. Like I used to think, what used to drive me or what my goals were, they're different now.
Yeah. Fully
different, man. I'm right into my coaching now. I love it. I love seeing kids develop and grow I go on about Genno, and I could just see him transition and last year's running around, 15-year-old, turned 16, but he only just turned 17. Playing first grade. So it's crazy seeing the 2 years I spent with him, and then boom. But like I used to say to him, you don't realise how far you're away, you know. But then I'm saying it can be like that also. So you got to cherish every moment, and that's like we spoke about. You do anything to go on that pitch.
Yeah,
we both would. So yeah, mate.
Couldn't think of a better way to end it, my brother.
That's it, brother.
That's been class. Thank you, mate. Thank you for that, and thank you guys for
always. No problem.